What communication tools do you prefer? Our group got together and decided we wanted to find out what types of communication tools that you prefer. Maria, Tyler, myself, James, and Tiffany all got this together and decided we were going to interview high school students. Now, these high school students are from a Midwestern high school, and we got 26 responses. We have a survey that we created, and we were going to compare the preferences of these high school students as to how many of them wanted to what they like to use when they were talking and communicating with each other personally, and what they like to use when they're communicating with each other or communicating with teachers in school. So here's our research question. Which tools do students prefer for communicating for personal or school purposes? That's our overall research question. But what we decided was we had all these different types of tools that they would be using, and these are the kinds we usually like to use. And so, we had handwritten letters and Google Plus and YouTube and Google Hangout, have all those sorts of things. And so what we did was we gave them those lists of those different tools, and then we said, would you please give us your top 3 preferred tools for personal purposes, and then the same thing for school purposes. And we thought that this would be the way in which we could find out what they really like to use. These were really interesting results. Now, for personal purposes, what they really like to use is texting. No duh, huh? This is something we really know. And interestingly enough, though, that Facebook and email were the same. And then below that was phone. So in other words, the 4 ways people like, the teenagers in our school like to communicate are texting, email, Facebook, and phone. Now, if they want to actually communicate for school purposes, and like we said, that's probably when they're communicating with a teacher, or if they want to do homework, or whatever they're going to be doing, the number one thing they want is email. We think it may have something to do with having a paper trail, and everybody can get to it. Also, it's easier to communicate with the older people if you're using email than if you're using texting. Secondly, by phone. Once again, that's a little bit more conventional in the way in which they do things. And then we have texting and even some Skype. I guess you want to be able to talk to your teacher face to face. So, interestingly enough, there were similarities and differences. Email, texting, and phone were the top for both personal and for the networking with the school. LinkedIn wasn't there. Nobody uses that at all. Texting was the most popular in the personal column, and email was the most popular with the school communication. Google Plus wasn't used by either group. That's pretty interesting. Or it wasn't popular. We were looking at what we could do in the future, and we'd like to do this research again, but we'd want to figure out whether they're boys or girls, or men or women. See if there's differences. We want to survey a larger crowd of teenagers because we only had 28 or 26. We want to include other options so they can add other types of communication if they want. And we want to be able to survey schools, different schools with different demographics and see what's different. Well, thanks for listening to our report.